It's summer in Chicago. Just blocks from the Gang Boys from Little Village in North Lawndale, students from both neighborhoods gathered together because this year they've been taught that their voice can make a difference.
You guys have authority. If you see someone doing something they're not supposed to do, you can say, nah, I'm one of the organizers of this, you can't do this. Right.
Zeni is an alumni and student teacher of the Fulfill the Dream program, a program that uses hip-hop culture to help students develop their voice, identify their dreams, and overcome the internal and external obstacles to fulfilling those dreams.
I actually got to teach the curriculum. I went through a training, and throughout these 4 years, actually, it made me develop into like the person I am now.
I tried forgiving you all my life. Big Brother Roberto and Mr. Crack Fulfill the Dream taught me how to forgive. But the forgiveness I tried giving you was in my head, not in my heart. Dear Juan, by my heart's empty space of a dad, I learned that love is special. And even though you never turned your life around, I'll always consider you someone in my heart. Not my father, but someone special that once taught my mother the meaning of love.
This curriculum was developed by Zeni's mentor, a hip-hop activist and educator named Roberto Rivera.
Well, I remember back in 2005, I had just recently graduated from college, and during that time, there was a lot of articles that were coming out in the newspaper talking about the police were coming to the school and that the teachers couldn't teach because there was so much disruption. And I remember during this time, some friends and I, we had an idea.
Money have to get paid because this is what I do. Don't have to.
Roberto is a former drug dealer who began his own life change in the underground hip-hop scene of Madison, Wisconsin. Now armed with his life experience and a master's degree from UIC, Roberto does consulting work across the country, teaching others how hip-hop can heal.
We realized that a lot of these young people were coming from Chicago, they were coming from Milwaukee, and they were coming from these traumatic experiences. And we thought, what if we could help them to begin to process through that trauma and that grief using hip-hop?
But something that you saw that's usually so traumatic for other people that they just give up on life. And you kept going?
I saw this man get shot in the head and his brain is on the floor. And I had stopped it.
Where were you?
In my hood.
How old were you?
This was last year, I think, so I was 16.
How can you come to class and sit down and focus about Pythagorean theorems in earth science when you have that on your mind? Retaliation, what's going on in the neighborhood, it's violence going on. So what we do in the curriculum, we allow them to lay that all out so that they can really assess what's going on. And the information that they learn from the curriculum, they take directly into their lives outside. That makes them want to come back and learn.
Yeah, we at the better way we bubble, you know, we represent God, you know, we gotta do it, and everybody acting hard, but yo, we on the street, we gotta keep it fly, everybody keep your hands.
Teray Hill is a premier MC in Chicago's hip-hop scene. Known as MC Phenom, he used hip-hop to navigate the obstacles of growing up in the Chicago projects. Phenom was mentored by Michelle Obama and now partners with Roberto to teach the Fulfill the Dream curriculum.
And so we thought, what if we could combine the principles of social and emotional learning with the original elements and knowledge of hip-hop?
Because it's a lot of stuff that's out there you're about to go into that's here to kill your dream. Alright? So, we went through chapters like reality check. Y'all better wake up. We went through chapters like inner GPS. You got something in you that's guiding you where to go. Are you finding that? Or are you listening? We went over soul blend. Don't be scared to let your soul shine. Because if one of y'all start answering questions that the teacher is giving questions to, what will the rest of y'all do?
After this school, I wound up going to Ferry for my junior year. But I got kicked out. So after I got kicked out, I wound up going to this alternative school, CCA. So when I went to CCA, they used to have these little mini course classes where they used to have people come in and teaching us stuff, and one of them was Fulfill the Dream. And I went, and I had, man, at the time it was Phenom and Roberto.
I met Ernest at CCA Academy on the west side of Chicago.
Now who's this Ernest? It's Ernest. It's Ernest. Hey, Ernest, what's your zodiac sign? Taurus. It's Taurus. It's the day of my birthday. Yes, it is. You know it is.
How you gonna say?
I'm 20. I'm 20. And they were speaking about music, which is something I always love, and telling me and schooling me about more things. I was like, man, I just started coming, and paying attention more and more.
And so when I went into the school, the classroom, I saw some of these kids. Ernest was high, I admit it. He had the reddest eyes in the world, you know, but I knew to work with him because, one, he was there. No matter if he didn't want to be there, if he didn't want to learn to grow, he wouldn't have been there. He'd been on the street.
Ernest went on to graduate from high school and now attends college.
Born into a family of hustlers. And the crazy thing is, one of my aunties was their best customer.
This is the sort of impact that educators who have used the Fulfill the Dream curriculum have come to expect.
Shoot, Jogo, I'm recording you.
Fulfill the Dream has had a significant impact on our students. I would say I've had an impact in 3 ways. One is their leadership, one is their academics, and 3 is their personal empowerment and liberation.
One of the things I've realized as a teacher is that my students are dying for to find a voice.
And so I stand here on the stage of the auditorium in which I perform my poetry for the first time, and where I was encouraged to grow by you guys. And I fear that this might be my last time.
It wasn't until I actually joined the group with Fulfill the Dream that I began to come to school more often, stay after school more often.
As a teacher, you feel this barrier between you and the students. There's this separation there, and actually being involved with the curriculum allowed me to see my students and for them to see me in a new way.
It was crazy. The first day of that curriculum, we had to write a poem about how we felt that day, you know, and I wrote about my father because that's the time that was going on with my father, and I read it out loud, and that's when I met Zeni, and because she started talking about her father and how he wasn't there, you know, and that kind of made my problem feel like, man, that's not even a problem, dude. Like, she doesn't even have a dad. Like, that's a problem, you know, and so we kind of use ourselves for support.
Grassroots, community-based, looking forward every day to seeing God's face, and I'm getting.
But perhaps the greatest resource the Fulfill the Dream curriculum offers students is community, a network of peer and mentor relationships that allows each and every student to flourish.
I wonder, how could you sell dope to your own family? But as I got older, it started getting in my mind, see. People didn't understand me as I was younger and growing up, wilding, getting violent, acting up.
Real basically, I have to make a distinction between schooling and education. You know, I think schooling basically looks at the student as if they're not bringing in knowledge. It makes it really competitive. It's really about retaining information that's not always useful to a young person's life. Whereas education says that every young person has experience that is valuable, that needs to be accessed. Every young person not only has the ability to solve problems on a standardized test, but they have the ability to solve problems in their communities as well.